Good evening once again, football fans. Big Al here on this Tuesday, October 15th, 2024, and welcome into the Week 8 college football television schedule and the announcers for every game this week. Alright, we have 3 games on tonight, including one that's about to start here in just mere moments. You've got 2 games on Wednesday, 2 games on Thursday, 5 more on Friday, and then a full day of action on Saturday. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so the game that's about to get started at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific on ESPN2 is Troy at South Alabama with Clay Matvick and Steve Adazio. Half hour later at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on CBS Sports Network is Kennesaw State at Middle Tennessee with Jordan Kent and Logan Ryan. And at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on ESPNU, Louisiana Tech at New Mexico State. Mike Corey and Forrest Connolly. Then to Wednesday, you have 2 games. At 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on ESPN2, Western Kentucky at Sam Houston, Lowell Galindo and Fozzie Whitaker. And on CBS Sports Network at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific is Florida International at Texas El Paso, Dave Ryan and Brock Vereen. Then on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on ESPN2, you have Georgia State at Marshall, Matt Schumacher and Dustin Fox. And at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific on ESPN is Boston College at Virginia Tech, Matt Berry and Dan Mullen. Then on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on ESPN2, you've got Florida State at Duke, Mike Monaco and Kirk Morrison. At the same time on ESPNU is Brown at Princeton, matchup in the Ivy League, with Eric Freedy and Jack Ford. On Fox at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, number 2 Oregon at Purdue, Tim Brando and Devin Gardner. At 10:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Pacific on ESPN, Oklahoma State at number 13 BYU, Anish Sharaff and Andre Ware. And at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on CBS Sports Network is Fresno State at Nevada, John Sadak and Taylor McCarkway. Moving to Saturday, we'll start with the early afternoon portion of the schedule where you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 games starting at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. ABC has number 6 Miami at Louisville, Joe Tessitore and Jordan Rogers. On Fox's Big Noon Saturday, it's Nebraska at number 16 Indiana, Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt. On ESPN, Auburn at number 19 Missouri, Dave Pasch and Dusty Dvorak. On ESPN2, East Carolina at number 23 Army, Roy Philpott and Sam Acho. On FS1, UCLA at Rutgers, Guy Haberman and Yogi Roth. On ESPNU, Louisiana at Coastal Carolina, Courtney Lyle and Renee Eagle-Gila. BTN has Wisconsin at Northwestern with Jeff Levering and Jake Butt. On the ACC network, it's Virginia at number 10 Clemson, Chris Cotter and Mark Herzlich. On CBS Sports Network, Wake Forest at Connecticut, Rich Waltz and Ross Tucker. And streaming on ESPN Plus at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific is Arizona State at Cincinnati, Sean Kenny and Max Starks. On the SEC network at 12:45 p.m. Eastern, 9:45 a.m. Pacific is South Carolina at Oklahoma with Tom Hart and Cole Kubelic. And then rounding out the early afternoon portion of the schedule, you have 2 games on ESPN Plus at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. First game is Central Michigan at Eastern Michigan with Michael Reggie and Marcus Ray. The second game is Tulsa at Temple with Doug Sherman and Barrett Brooks. Moving to the late afternoon portion of the Saturday schedule, you've got a ton of games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 games starting at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. ABC has number 7 Alabama at number 11 Tennessee. Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy. On the Home Depot Big Ten on CBS, you've got number 24 Michigan at number 22 Illinois. Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson. ESPN has number 12 Notre Dame and Georgia Tech with Bob Wischusen and Louis Riddick. I think Georgia Tech's the home team. ESPNU has Florida A&M at Jackson State, Tiffany Green and Jay Walker. On the CW, it's Hawaii at Washington State, Ted Robinson and Michael Bumpus. On the ACC network, NC State at California, George Sedano and Orlando Franklin. On CBS Sports Network, you've got Charlotte at number 25 Navy, Carter Blackburn and Adam Brenneman. And then you've got a host of games streaming on ESPN Plus at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, including Florida Atlantic at UTSA with Ted Emmerich and LaDarren McClain. Houston at Kansas with Mark Neely and Todd Doxson. Kent State at Bowling Green with Jim Barber and Randy Buffington. Ohio at Miami of Ohio, Kevin Fitzgerald and Charlie Strong. Rice at Tulane, James Wessling and Leger Duzable. Texas State at Old Dominion has no broadcast team announced for that game. There's also Toledo at Northern Illinois with Mike Cousins and Ryan Kavanaugh. UAB at South Florida with Jason Ross Jr. and Tioka Jackson. And Western Michigan at Buffalo with Anthony Lima and Gerard Cherry. At 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on Fox is Colorado at Arizona, Jason Benetti and Brock Heward. On ESPN2, you'll have Baylor at Texas Tech with Beth Mowins and Rod Gilmore. On FS1, it's USC at Maryland, Eric Collins and Robert Smith. On True TV, you have New Mexico at Utah State, Ari Wolf and Darius Walker. On NBC Sports Bay Area and streaming on Mountain West Conference Digital at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific is Wyoming at San Jose State, and there is no broadcasters announced for this game. And streaming on ESPN Plus at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific is James Madison at Georgia Southern, and there is no broadcast team announced for this game either. And then 15 minutes later at 4:15 p.m. Eastern, 1:15 p.m. Pacific on the SEC network, as a jet's flying over my house, is number 14 Texas A&M at Mississippi State, Taylor Zarzour and Matt Stinchcomb. Alright, rounding it out with the evening portion of the schedule, you'll have just 3 games starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. ESPN has number 8 LSU at Arkansas, Mark Jones and Roddy Jones. Streaming on ESPN Plus and on SEC Network Plus at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific is Ball State at Vanderbilt, Richard Cross and Charles Arbuckle. And streaming exclusively on ESPN Plus at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific is Arkansas State at Southern Miss, and there is no broadcast team announced for that game. So after that, you'll have 5 more games starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. ABC's Saturday Night Football has a top 5 battle in the SEC as number 5 Georgia visits number 1 Texas with Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. On Fox, it's number 17 Kansas State at West Virginia with Connor Onion and Mark Helfrich. On Big Ten Saturday night on NBC, you've got Iowa at Michigan State with Noah Eagle and Todd Blackledge. On FS1, it's UCF at number 9 Iowa State, Trent Rush and Spencer Tillman. And on ESPNU, you've got North Texas at Memphis with Noah Reed and Craig Hobart. 15 minutes later at 7:45 p.m. Eastern, 4:45 p.m. Pacific on the SEC Network is Kentucky at Florida, Dave Neal and Aaron Murray. And then 3 more games will kick off 15 minutes after that at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. On ESPN2, you've got South Dakota State at North Dakota State, Jay Alter and Rocky Boyman. On the ACC Network, you have number 21 SMU at Stanford, Wes Durham and Tom Luginbill. And on CBS Sports Network, you've got Colorado State at Air Force, Chris Lewis and Robert Turbin. And then you'll have 2 late games on Saturday night. At 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on the CW is UNLV at Oregon State, Tom Brenneman and Max Brown. And the final game of the night is at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. TCU at Utah, Dave Fleming and Brock Osweiler. And that's a look at the Week 8 college football television schedule and the announcers for every game this week. Alright, I was going to do my NFL recap the week that was today, but that's been pushed back to tomorrow, so make sure you join me for that. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching and enjoy the pigskin. Peace out. I just want to at least